Mamujia and your boy who naked. Your boy who naked. Your boy what the jack. Your boy the jack. Your baby, your check. Your check, your be yatoso. Your chefu, nature call it to 2 minutes. Your yatoso, ha. Many other pa. Nana so I'm wed and yet, your baba and craho. Your boy. Adeja, Yabaho.
Jimmy and people for Jimmy, me will be stupid people. I don't know why I belong to that political party.
Obi na peja Mami Jane. Eti se ye kafu gban tu. E hwe John Dramani Mahama se. E no bo kafu mi dina ma oje no. Omo mfa ho se party ni accept. Party members ni pin so. E ke party strategical ho. E na o ye na po. Ene me Mami na Jane. Napo ye Johnny Walker. Napo ye Red Label. What you say? Napo ye whiskey. Mami, who do you compare? Aya patashi. Me mami te say palm wine, local palm wine tapper. Because who do you know so many debater? I te say I will abone Benz. It won't match. Napo ye seasoned politician or politics no. Ebia me mami eka literature. Literature so yen to swaba.
Some of them have stood before.
Everybody.
Adainimo has.
No, it's only Poku even. He was trying to stood and we disqualify him here.
Where?
All right, I was about 1 hour with Munufi, so we did say Ubia hon a na and they and DJ that always send them address it to Secretary. Well, Tim Hose and DJ that can see Senia or town for a pair anka Ugu John Domain, my name is no. And to me, Amasa. Inti started a live stream from Deuteronomy 28:7. Deuteronomy 28:7. This is what the Lord says. The Lord will cause your enemies who rise against you to be defeated before you. They shall come out against you one way and flee before you in 7 ways. Inti Senia or Senkafo Esieno. En shishya o tamfo ehihye edema wono emmam na omanim begu ase akwansa nyina so na omaba abekoto onase senia na anka NPP for pese omugu John Dramani Mahama anim ase concerning Airbus no abusuan for ene the good thing they say and to me amam. The good thing they say, and to me, me pacho some kai say Nana do dan kwaku for do kofa de bi ba friend ejapade document. And then the then officer of the Special Prosecutor no ye NDC ni Nana do appointing as Special Prosecutor say anko person o use no e de gu NDC for any man say Ira Martin Alamisi Amidu. Yeah, Taske Martin Alamisi Amidu say onkoye investigation on ajapade document. But surprisingly no, Martin Amidu de ekoye ajapade document ho investigation de ba no. What the one paragraph be ebehie mu. E pese anka odigu John Dramani Mahama animu ase. This is the portioner ye papa Martin Amidu Edebaye. Let me just read what is written here. So if you're able to follow what is on our screen, you can also follow. Enti Martin Amidu koye ejapade document ni reporting in other document no. Then he included this particular statement. Ewo ejapade document no. This office has also warrants of arrest issued by the Court of Ghana and an Interpol Red Alert notice outstanding for execution in the case of the Republic versus Samuel Adam Mahama and others. Samuel Adam Mahama, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Nuya, one Airbus Juma. Na as part of animguasia nanka umpeso mdigu John Mahama se John Mahama ene eje bribe or Airbus scandal na eba amuno. Martin Amidu mo court j notice from the court and almost survey Interpol senka omonche Samuel Adam Mahama and Fanimra Ghana no me fesi Ghana court Although say Samuel Adam Mahama a British citizen. But Martin Amidu say omo court Emma Ghana court so ensuenyansa. My name judge because I will try to find the name of the judge. Ede sa document you mama so from come interpose so Samuel Mahama Emra Ghana no me face trial. And then this is what Martin Amidu actually wrote in that particular statement. Ghana Bribery scandal involving the then government of Ghana, not to talk of documentary evidence or suspected forgeries and deceit of a public officer by the 3-4 blood brothers in the corruption transactions to obtain a Ghanaian passport for Samuel Adam Mahama. So what Martin Amidu is trying to say is somebody in Ghana or a government official F4G documents, Ghana passport, Edema Samuel Adam Mahama. This office has established the identity of elected government official 1 to be the former President John Mahama, whose brother of the 4 blood is Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama. Martin Amidu say, Ono akoye nhwehwemu ehunu say His Excellency John Mahama is the government official 1 and the ba Airbus scandal no na ono na ko 4G documents Ghana passport edema ninua. So Martin Amidu was telling Ghanaians say John Mahama as the then vice president could not go through the process of acquisition of a passport, but rather he has to forge documents. Although say the same person say John Mahama blood brother and Samuel Adam Mahama. So what he is trying to mean is that Samuel Adam Mahama he Ghana passport or no sent to me meje, but rather just a brother and a forged documents at the man. Martin Amidu was an NDC member. You should not forget that. Why Attorney General in Canada? Good. The only reason the former president has not been invited for interrogation, in spite of all threats from some of his followers and lawyers, is the fact that he got himself an assurance as the presidential candidate of the other largest political party in Ghana, and prudence dictated that the interrogation be held in abeyance during his election season, or during this election season. Martin Amidu say he wanted to invite former President John Mahama, His Excellency John Mahama, said, no Martin Amidu investigating. But the only advantage that John Mahama say now about the presidential candidate of NDC into inviting a bed say at that political season, that is the reason why he did not invite former President John Mahama. And then there is a portion. Or see, in spite of all threat from some of his followers, meaning Martin Amidu yin who films or no NDC ni onye NDC ni biem, because na na dan kwaku fado amana juma say onye. Enti Martin Amidu thought say NDC for air threatening no, and so ono de ono kwa dan ko be invite John Mahama because John Mahama F4G documents EDJ passport bra, and then there are some kind of allegations of scandal against John Mahama. Say his government official 1. Martin Amidu was the first person who says John Mahama is government official 1. Honorable Martin Amidu or NDC Nino. This is how he made Nana Dankwa Kufuor to use him. Let's go on. And then you be bobo a lot of things in Medoba court. Serious fraud office. Other things are bad. I don't know why Martin Amidu decided not to write about it again. But in there, Office of the Special Prosecutor, where Bijira Bontiaka say, the John Mahama enya boni bia in the Airbus scandal. Now, beside the work of Airbus scandal, no report if you caught by the Akako him say if actually they're wrong anywhere. And when Martin Amidu, a person go good John Mahama any matter no, His Excellency John Mahama announce her or Martin Amidu answer and I reply.
And presents a Japa shares, a Japa investigation. And I thought he was man enough. You go, they say, investigate Japan. Present a report in Japan. If you've investigated Airbus, present a report on Airbus. But in the Japan report, you know that it's going to be damning of this government. You go and put one paragraph there about Airbus. Nobody asked you about Airbus. If you were man enough, present in Japan and do a report on Airbus, separate. And then I'll come as a man and answer you on Airbus. If you think that I'm indicted on Airbus, accuse me directly. But because he's a coward, and they knew that Ejapa was going to be discussed today, because he was a coward, and he knew that they were going to discuss Ejapa, so put a paragraph on Airbus to equalize the discussion. I mean, what stupidity is this?
What stupidity is this? Honorable Martin Alamisi Amidu Nana Adodan Kwakufuado Asha will say Ghana for no kasafa ho say ejapade document no Phoebe wo ho enti wo as a special prosecutor no koye investigation for ejapade document ho Martin Amidu akotwere ejapade document no ho akoye ho investigation the report about then he tries to equalize something now the portion bia ba be infinity bi say John Mahama brand so yakwaje court am warrant say emfa nkofa ni fi UK mra enti de akoma red alert ama the same Interpol the nebaba na John Mahama me pese me investigate John Mahama but because he's the presidential candidate of NDC enti me aba Honorable Martin Amidu
Nkwasiafo pa ma Jimmy MPP for Jimmy me who be stupid people. I don't know why I belong to that political party.
You see, sometimes when I say what time will be a esenka utimidi sie kakra. But when we didn't dem adan clear say the target is to destroy John Dramani Mahama. So until recently, Abua Papon and so through petition at the command special prosecutor say on him. Na John Mahama aje bribe. Enti ono yesen ko the copy of the petition kwe say John Mahama nsema John Mahama fie. And then me bought me nsema NDC youth. NDC youth can say okay. What dey bra ho yeso ye kwe clean up ho. Enti bra na fa document ni bra wa beto yo. Aboa papon yese o de beko. So lo and behold no obohu. Ohun how NDC for sisi kan no kan say de kodono. Hwe ya o se da bi me nko. Na busafo enne special prosecutor awie na reporting na ena wodin hwehwemu bia ohia on Airbus aba epacho yenkode nkoti nsema special prosecutor na nado dan Kwakufuado ena appointing yero kisi agya abena nkasa ede aba epacho let's go and watch the particular video
to founding criminal culpability in respect of the reference individuals in the context of the UK and US outcomes. It seems to us that since the reference individuals were not represented during the UK and US investigations, it became a case of whatever characterization Airbus placed on their conduct in relation to the actions of the employees of Airbus. It is also obvious that Airbus did not represent and had no intention of representing the interest of the reference individuals. It appears to us that the sole aim of Airbus was to save its image and reputation, never mind what it did to the image and reputation of the reference individuals, and to pay fines to avoid prosecution. Therefore, by reconstructing the entirety of Airbus dealings in Ghana, and through its intermediaries and with Ghanaian public officials, the OSP, looking at it from both the perspective of the officials of Airbus and that of the Airbus intermediaries and Ghanaian public officials, it seems to us that what Airbus perceived and accepted in the deferred prosecution agreements as the real intentions of its employees in their dealings with the intermediaries and Ghanaian public officials is at cross purposes with what appear to be the real intentions and expectations of the intermediaries and the Ghanaian public officials in their dealings with the employees of Airbus. This is what I'm saying. While the accepted facts in the two foreign jurisdictions are that the employees of Airbus designed the payments to the intermediaries as bribes intended to court favor with Ghanaian public officials, especially ex-President John Mahama. On the other hand, the intermediaries appeared to expect and receive the payments as their legitimate expectation under an arrangement of success-based commissions for the sale of the military transport aircraft to the government of Ghana. And their actions, in whichever way viewed, were calculated as businessmen expecting their lawful paychecks and not as conduits of a bribery scheme. The concoction of a plan by senior leadership in SMO International and the Defense and Space Division of Airbus to deliberately circumvent Airbus compliance rules by substituting Company D, or the company owned by Consultant 4 and Consultant 5, with Spanish Intermediary 8, or Organization 1, to ensure payments to Foster and his associates, though wrongful and deceptive, was entirely an internal matter for Airbus in respect of its disciplinary regulations and code of ethics. It does not amount to the payment of bribes to court favor with Ghanaian public officials in the reckoning of Ghanaian law. It is a case of the employees of Airbus deceiving Airbus. Neither does the short declaration by Airbus to the Spanish Export Credit Agency and Airbus's non-declaration in the context of the US ITAR. Consequently, the OSP has no evidentiary basis upon which to conclude that Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, Philip Sean Middlemis, and Leanne Sarah Davis acted as conduits of bribery between the employees of Airbus and former President John Dramani Mahama or any other public official. Also, the OSP found no evidentiary basis that suggests that Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, Philip Sean Middlemis, and Leanne Sarah Davis received payments from Airbus with the intention of bribing former President John Dramani Mahama or any other public official. Further, the OSP found no evidentiary basis that suggests that former President John Dramani Mahama or any other public official was paid bribes by Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, Philip Sean Middlemis, and Leanne Sarah Davis in respect of the purchase by the government of Ghana of military transport aircraft from Airbus. Then again, the OSP found no evidentiary basis that suggests that former President John Dramani Mahama or any other public official was induced to improperly favor or did improperly favor Airbus in respect of the purchase by the government of Ghana or military transport aircraft from Airbus. In the case of Sarah Feno, she should not even have been a subject of the OSP investigation. Members of the media, the OSP has cited and notes that by two separate communications, both dated 22 April 2021, the SFO in the United Kingdom notified Samuel Adam Foster and Philip Sean Middlemis that a decision had been taken not to prosecute them for any offense in respect of the Airbus Ghana deal. It has not come to the notice of the OSP that the SFO in the UK has reconsidered its decision. We consider it that it ties with our conclusion. Further action. A special prosecutor has directed the closure of the OSP investigation into alleged bribery of high-ranking Ghanaian officials by Airbus SC through intermediaries in respect of the sale of military transport aircraft by Airbus SC to the Republic of Ghana between 2009 and 2015. The OSP would not institute criminal proceedings against any person in respect of this investigation. The special prosecutor has also directed authorized officers of the OSP to rescind the 13 May 2020 warrants of arrest obtained from the Circuit Court, Accra, for the arrest of Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, Philip Sean Middlemis, Leanne Sarah Davis, and Sarah Feno. Earlier today, I sent out correspondence notifying Interpol of the withdrawal of the red notices in respect of Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, Philip Sean Middlemis, Leanne Sarah Davis, and Sarah Feno. Thank you.
Enti Special Prosecutor Ankasa Anumun Semne say, after their investigation, there is no correlation between John Dramani Mahama and any corruption in the Airbus issue. That is the first thing. 2, John Mahama Nuya Samuel Mahama, any nipa treyakano, they acted as businessmen. They take their commission. They were consultants. They had business with Airbus. Hey, we're going to help you do this, that. And in Ghana, and that is the confusion as an NPP former Ghana 40 years. They say the meaning William Kabokano, or my way see Obia years keke. Airbus was selling military aircraft in other parts of the world. Medoba a court document to be who be Airbus here, Juma. And Ghana as NPP for Pesa Ghana for 8 years. Enti Ghana de Korano, according to Special Prosecutor, no. Almost as da. Now John Mahama brand quite enyambamu. So they had no idea say John Mahama be vice president and then John Mahama be. So there is nothing. ABM Special Prosecutor say, "Sa red notice na omode koma Interpol for no or no actual letter akwa free ho, and that there is nothing wrong with anybody. There's nothing wrong with anybody. John Mahama has never taken bribe and will not take any bribe." And that is the message for NPP4. NPP4. All right. Honorable Kennedy, here in Japan, no. But the question I will be saying is, they wanted to equate any bribery options or any other thing with John Dramani Mahama. But for surprisingly, let me just show you something here. Surprisingly, no. On 4th of May 2021, Reuters had the news by, this is the headline, UK prosecutor ends investigation into Airbus individuals. Let's go and read something very little on that news. But if you follow me on this particular screen, you can see. London, 4th of May, Reuters. Britain's Serious Fraud Office has ended a criminal investigation into individuals associated with Airbus. The European plane maker had agreed to a record $4 billion global settlement 60 months ago, sources said on Tuesday. 3 sources familiar with the investigation said the SFO had written to former suspects to say it would take no further action. But it went on to say that overseas prosecutors could, however, take a different view in case where suspects could face more one injury. That is what a document SFO for a individuals who are President Mahama Miana account be because they are just business people. They have no idea about what Airbus is doing. Help us sell our planes, so we sell it and then we make our commission, and that's it. That is the only business they do. So the first question we are asking is, did Honorable Martin Amidu see this publication say there's nothing wrong with President Mahama's brother, and for that matter, why didn't he write anything about it? That is the first thing. 2, Adena Abua Papon, no nama ochro. The command special prosecutor say no. Didn't he know say even Britain or starting say or executive to this particular agenda no, I drop it all the cases and answer Masheda. Why is it say election year and they want to bring on these kind of things and then entangle His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on that? One who say politics na ye or Ghana no. Say hanye careful. Now the way amount for be agreeing say they could actually use politics against some people now. Very bad. Very, very bad. Enti a minor a friend Ghana no. We should be very careful with issues. But now, let's go and then we read some things here. This case number U2020-0108 in the Crown Courts at Southwark in the matter of S45 of the Crime and Courts Act 2023. Royal Courts of Justice, Strand, London, WC21, dated 31st January 2020. Let's go on. The case before the President of the Queen's Bench, between Director of the Serious Fraud Office and Airbus SE. The respondents, Edi Enewohono. Court approved judgment ni bi the screen so because I want us all to read and then understand. And yes, ubi better baby. Editro, Egu John Mahama so when I special prosecutor kora eboa and same bebre. That is why I've taken my time. Now made the document ni bi abetu screen so sebia wow him so me pacho onso ubetimi akan. Then somebody might not come and say I am making anything happy here because I'm not maybe part of Nipa Yabomudi. I'm not part of anything. So this is the officially approved judgment. Approved judgment of that issue now. Ekofa we about Ghana. So let's read some part of it and then we see say if we could actually do some little explanations about it. To me, over quite a portion of Emma Ghana Diba Muno. And then you can't tell one casa obeto umase. On 28th January 2020, I had an application in private in which I was asked. This is the introduction. So I don't know if it's right, but for sake of time, mention that and go over everything. You know, I will take my time to bring on portions and if he say ebeboa ama ya arrive at a better conclusion. That is why I'm going to read. But when people say yes, a bit take your time. So on 28th January 2020, I had an application in private in which I was asked to make a declaration in preliminary approval of a deferred prosecution agreement, that is ADPA, reached between the Serious Fraud Office and Airbus SA. At that hearing, I made a declaration that I was likely to be in the interest of justice for such agreements to be made and that its proposed terms were fair and that the proposed terms were fair. That is what the court, and some court can ebina make so let's follow the argument here. Nti yɛhwɛ argument in the court document and ankasa bina made that to screen as well make nti let's follow and then come out with serious argument here. Were fair, reasonable, and proportionate. Today, 31st of January 2020, I made a final declaration and order to that effect at a hearing held in public. One of the consequences of this order is that Airbus must pay a financial sanctions of approaching 1 billion euros to the consolidated fund via the SFO within 30 days of today's date, made up of disgorgements of profits, which is 585 point something billion. We are not going to go into, and a penalty of over 300 million. To put this figure into context, this financial sanction is greater than the total of all the previous sums paid pursuant to previous DPAs and more than double the total of fines paid in respect of all criminal conducts in England and Wales in 2028. And I'm not going to go all over. I'll just put the PDF as well, and then you can take your time to read it. And this judgment, then you might also know for the sake of time. And as I indicated earlier on, Airbus transactions now any bigger company they will rather adapt and then employ the services of third parties. So among go over sales it's okay. And one, as I indicated, Airbus made part of the sales also in Malaysia. But Malaysia and so it on be haunted. So be catcher say a Ghana and Kwan on beton nemana and you true. Two, Sri Lanka also Airbus sold this military aircraft part also in Sri Lanka. Taiwan also, they were there. Indonesia also, they were there. And then this is count 5, where Ghana's name popped out. So let's present what the court actually said about Ghana. The fifth count alleges that, contrary to 77 of the Bribery Act 2010, between 1st January 2011 and 1st June 2015, Airbus SE failed to prevent persons associated with Airbus SE from bribing other concerned with the purchase of military transport aircraft by the government of Ghana, where the said bribery was intended to obtain or retain business or advantages in the conduct of business for Airbus SE. Pacho, I'm going on. Paragraph 53. Between 2019 and 2015, an Airbus defense company engaged intermediaries, which is intermediary 5, a close relative of a high-ranking elected Ghanaian government official 1, that is the name in law court, when they wanted to give names, that is what the name they gave to that elected Ghanaian government official, which is government official 1. Underline the word elected Ghanaian government official here. Let's follow that. As its BP, in respect of the proposed sale of 3 military transport aircraft to the government of Ghana, a number of Airbus employees knew intermediary 5 was a close relative of government official 1, who was a key decision maker in respect of the proposed sales. A number of Airbus employees, if everything is okay from your end, you could also prompt me. If everything is fine, I'm just going on. No bap, if my sound and everything is okay, please do notify me. If you think that there's something wrong, you can also tell me. A number of Airbus employees made or promised success-based commission payment of approximately 5 million to intermediary 5. False documentations was created by and with the agreement of Airbus employees in order to support the disguise these payments. The payments were intended to induce or reward improper favor by government official 1 towards Airbus. Payments were eventually stopped due to the arrangement failing the due diligence process required by the liquidation committee. So it does not say in here, intermediary 5 was working based on commission, and so to Mr. Oxidia, they were going to pay him 5 million euros as his commission. So they think, many people knew that government official 1 and intermediary 5 had some relationship. Until maybe appropriate for them to engage him, because the then Vice President John Mahama was, I think, Ghana Air Force, Ghana military, and he was the head. I'll find the right term, and then because every government official behind the money position being ultimately the Vice President there, head of Ghana's police council and as for government official, which is John Mahama, was then for the military. Fine. So let's move on here. Airbus, through one of its Spanish defense subsidiaries, conducted 2 campaigns to sell C-295 military transport aircraft to the government of Ghana. The first campaign ran from 2009 to 2011. The second from 2013 to 2015. Intermediary 5, a UK national. And the report at the court also affirmed, His Excellency John Mahama Nuyana intermediary 5 is also a UK citizen. William Cap, thanks very much. Well, listen to everybody, I thank you very much. He's also a UK national with no prior expertise in the aerospace industry, acted as a BP for Airbus in both. Company D was the corporate vehicle through which intermediary 5 and his associate provided services to Airbus. Let me explain what is happening here to you. Let me do it this way. Airbus, owned the planes. So they contacted a Spanish company, say, hey, ubitimi aboya mayaton military aircraft. Then Spanish company also contacted some people, about 3 people, including President John Mahama's brother in UK, who was a UK national, say, hey, you say away, and we don't know the African market very well. Can you help us sell all these kind of things? And then you get your cut out of it, your commission out of it. And then he also accepted and started doing his business transaction, going up and down and then coming back. So that is what happened here. Let's move on. In August 2011, the purchase agreement for the sale of the two C-95 aircraft was signed by the Spanish defense subsidiary and the government of Ghana, and it contained a declaration of compliance with the 1997 OECD Convention on Combating Bribery of Foreign Public Officials in International Business Transactions, as well as a declaration that no more than over 3 billion will be paid to BPs in connection with the contract, broadly a 5% commission. And they also agreed to say, it has to be in compliance with crime anything. You cannot bribe any foreign national, and that's your commission is 5%. And then they accepted it. After Company D made a formal BP application to Airbus in May 2011, Airbus commissioned an external due diligence report. In September 2011, this report identified Intermediary 5 as a shareholder of Company D. The report raised the possibility that he was a close relative of Government Official 1 and concerns that there was a risk of non-compliance with the OECD Convention. The reaction of a number of Airbus employees, including senior employees and those involved in compliance, an email chain in October 2011 is set out at paragraph 188 of the statement of facts. In short, it was that the business should be conducted through a new third party, a company already audited and engaged in the same area. The Spanish company, already an Airbus BP, Intermediary 8, and which had no previous links or expertise of working in Ghana for any Airbus entity, was duly selected. So what the court is saying is at a point in time, somebody raised Intermediary 5, say, hey, Nipos Messia or Kamohono, Ninu Vice President of Ghana. So at a point in the problem, till Mama Yan drop in. Senabe Ubia Uncle Kase or play any role Emma Ninuano Itminyawe. So they concluded and then dropped John Mahama and then they employed the services of somebody else. That is what it's saying here. A number of Airbus employees, 2 of them senior and 1 involved in compliance, thus agreed to deliberately circumvent the proper compliance process by falsely representing that the work in the first campaign had been done by Intermediary 8, which could in turn make the money available to Intermediary 5 and others, which could in a way make the money available to Intermediary 5 and others. Further, the sum paid to Intermediary 8 and then by Intermediary 8 to Intermediary 5 exceeded in the later of 850,000. The agreed commission amounts set out in the Declaration of Compliance referred to above. So, this is what the Spanish company also did. Maybe then I take my time to explain to you what it actually happened here. Intermediary 5, Enuya Air Vice President of Ghana. I started Jumana to say a ton plane okra. Then somebody raised the objection and said, hey, the person must see Vice President of Ghana and it's a problem. In Pumayan dropping. So the Spanish company actually dropped John Mahama's brother and then engaged the services of somebody else. And what they actually did behind the scene is say, okay, the person must say, you foul, then we will write, say, one of wire from A to Z. This kind of pay the portion of John Mahama's in Fanademano. So that was also an agreement between the employees of the Spanish company and not John Mahama. So he had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with it. And a company in Ankasa, whatever they want to do, it is their own cup of tea. Good, let's move on. Similar false representation to those detailed above were made in February 2014 and then in February 2014 and then in May 2015 in respect of work allegedly done by Intermediary 8 in respect of further proposed purchase by the government of Ghana of a C295 of a C295. In the case, however, the liquidation committee requested further due diligence before any payments were made. An external due diligence report was completed in respect of Intermediary 8, and Intermediary 8 declined to participate in interviews by external counsel. Airbus had engaged to conduct external due diligence interview. Intermediary 8 therefore failed due diligence. Airbus did not enter into a second written contract or make any further commission payment. Disputing Intermediary 5 later claimed that he owned over 1.6 million euros. Intermediary 8 decided to say, Airbus for one of the council about some investigation, I found it in my job. And then Intermediary 5 also, you owe him this amount of money, so pay him, and that's it. That is Ghana's name that appeared here. So at no point in this document, at no point in this document, and anybody says somebody paid money and sana yeton niemano. If you read the whole court judgment now, it wasn't about bribery, but it was about procedure bia ebimo amfaso. And don't forget, say, oba military aircraft journey na nenye Airbus and Kwane. Other companies also produce military aircraft for sale. Into your Masheda, international rules and regulations be that to say you can do this, you cannot do that, you can do this, you cannot do that. So one of them, any raising objections, say, hey, Airbus, it goes against the OECD conventions and other things, and then it went to court. It had nothing to do with bribery of any government official in Ghana. So I had no idea why somebody in Ghana might think, say, Opeso or the Jomama Diban because Jomama Nia Abe business. But and Special Prosecutor, I can't change and say, only any investigation BIABM, and that John Mahama Nia all UK was doing his business as a businessman, and that's it. And even UK now, you started as a UK for no crowd track or some answer one year boni BNC, because you see a case in that home. How and on earth did Abua Papon and other things wants to bring in John Dramani Mahama in this? That is the question we are asking ourselves today. Is it say what te wa na obi passing be the barber share kon then those kind of things? I don't even understand it because about one a politics na or Ghana. So if you want to attack John Mahama from other angle, you have the right to do so. But man for anything senseless be and family papa and say you just want to disgrace the man for nothing. Intiene senia Bible ekano. Atamfo na omo pese omo gu John Mahama ni mase no nyankopon ayi omo na ase entoma. I am very happy say time na buy no a timer ye ko election into won't mean say ko jina ba bia ko kase John Mahama a government official one and that or kwaje bribe that be we mo ankasa Special Prosecutor Modena Bano say or no based on investigation on why no there was no mention of John Mahama who accepted any bribe, and that a soldier 4 did their own investigation before they actually bought those aircraft, and John Mahama played no active role in monetary acquisition via Obia bribe. In this will be Geneva be can't say, and a John Mahama je bribe, and a John Mahama is here, or there's nothing like that. There is absolutely nothing like that.
Stupid people. I don't know why I belong to that political party.
All right, Inti, the Airbus issue is gone. Let's jump onto something very quick before we go. But your channel is 1 hour with Monofie. Inti, if you could actually be following us, we stream 1 hour every day. I know this is not news to you. Until 1 hour every day, be an opportunity. So when you subscribe, or I mean say you just come back and then give us a subscription button. You just push it. Send a about life. The be also on Sabbath me akaye. Me dini William Munufia, and that is why the name 1 hour with Munufia. Now, if I just have Stephen Atubiga. When I was starting a show, Stephen Atubiga also wajai NDC for Unity wajai. Yet this man keeps on attacking NDC. Young when I cover this particular video, I will just explain to you what actually happened.
Obi ne peja Mami Jane. Eti se ye kafu gban tu. Ehwe John Dramani Mahama se. Eno bo kafu midina ma oje no. Omo mfa ho se party ni accept. Party members ni pin so. E ke party strategical ho. Ena o ye na po. Ene me Mami na Jane. Na po ye Johnny Walker. Na po ye Red Label. What you say? Na po ye whiskey. Mami, udi wo mo compare. Eya pateshi. Me mami te say palm wine, local palm wine tapper. Because udi wo mo jina so mo ye debater. E te say awiabone Benz. It won't match.
All right. Papa enye ndisi ni biem ya pam no. Yet wakoti onu ankasa ne party. But surprisingly na me mo di ade anka minim ni say me nua Ernest bia boko de. All right. Adia me minim ni say si ye kwa batwa opposition parties you attack the government in power because why be say also kwa we ni aba no. It doesn't matter how small you are or how big you are or how larger you are or how tiny you are. You might be independent candidate to send a cheddar AA. Your main focus is to win the political power. You want power. But Stephen, Atubiga the end there's only there be or no or attack my otisui or precia by no, but rather than attack NDC, which I find it very weird. Because what a party, self person when yaba. And then you keep on praising Abaya Otisono, but rather than you attack the opposition party that and then what person when and I say then person here. I don't know about you can also share your ideas and views here. Stevia Atubiga, does it actually want to win the power and I say PC Kakeke and a free NPP for her by his constant attack on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and then never quite see the running mate of John Mahama to say when you experience party for the forcing them John Mahama and on in the pujina the put far better and this is for problem no. Atubiga, what is your problem here? If you think say Napo is much better, change Professor Nana Jena, it is your own cup of tea. Napo na Ghana ni bia nim se Napo ya ahomaso ne ahantan no. Otumfo say tutu kura gina simpio say ono wate se Napo ya ahantan ti otu Napo fo. Say bia Atubiga say ono onte ye. But rather than Napo to say Johnny Walker na Professor Nana Jane it is apathy. Meaning ordinary here enyi Napo nim governance here no. And then when you bring them on debate governance enye debate a performance that is and when you want to actually measure governance, it's not about how well you talk and how you talk or how you lie. It is your performance. How do you perform? Professor Nana Jane, the first vice chancellor of a university, Napo, a dentist, a co-education, or the teacher for them, a neighbor energy, so. How do you say Professor Nana Jane in the Napo is better than Professor Nana Jane? In what? And then you as also a opposition party, what do you plan to achieve by attacking NDC? I don't get it. Because maybe he needs to come and tell us his reason for doing that. Because suddenly when your opportunity be or attacking NDC, sometimes I'll be asking, so if it's a way NPP need for now, just shift and follow them. But when your opportunity be nanado, better change your mama. But me, better change your mama. And so what? And you as one person, you are going to tell us because we were in this and then you couldn't perform and then you are being sacked. What your party are? Keep quiet and then do your campaign. But I have never been who as Stevia to be go by BS or a campaign. Actually, in the internet, but rather than a campaign at the born and out about me abaso. And then he attacks John Mahama and the NDC. Party no minim say you mo ya pa nti nibre ene yaw ena de yesa ade na wo ma fom na wo nkopa NDC pan for che say masa party no edama koma so nti mo mfa menka ho nti ne wo ye ya ho ya any bre bɛn so ɛmfa nkosi babia ɛna nanado down kwa Akufo-Addo na odi na chi ne Mahmoud Bawumia no they are just using Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia until wo binduri ni uko kama they will use you as well. And I think so you should know. They will definitely be using you people. They don't even want you. They don't want you. And let's send this caution to Stephen to begin. What your party are? Follow the course, do your campaign, or when near Yentomau. You see, party now what you party office, you but what the answer constantly you attack NDC. But there's some many years apart you. So debate you said you NDC for how no. Wo as a person I won't NDC hono. Esa ukura obose because nipa na onene ko competition mo kupa kumia no. Onya dia keep quiet and then attack the government in power, but don't be attacking your political opponents or more opposition because your mama is not the president of Ghana. It is a wolf is a Ghana asitinoma tumpoma. Then why do you form a political party? Because if you think that the government in power now, then you don't need your own political party. You just need to go and be with them and then you praise them. I know you're a very intelligent guy, but take your time and then be careful with how you attack NDC because it's not going to help you. NDC, whether you like it or not, you're quite about to over 6 million as we speak. This year we're going to get about 8 million. Until the other kind and say, hey, Tiabro, you could have put the man another.
Yeah, Planesia, Mamujia, and your boy who naked. Your boy who naked. Yeah, Boba and what the jack. Yeah, Boba the jack. Yeah, Benny, your check. Yeah, Chayabi Yatoso. Yeah, Chafu, Nitako, Nitokin to me. Yeah, Yatoso, Maniabipa, Nanakuado. So I'm wed, and yet, Yababa and Kraho. Yeah, boy, Adaja, Yabaho. And yet, I never seen it, Janidano. Yeah, Planesia, Mamujia, and your boy who naked. Yeah, boy who naked. Yeah, Boba and what the jack. Yeah, Boba the jack. Yeah, Benny, your check.
Aberwa kura se baby amamu na du no. Se na ado ampe bibi anya mfama. Obe maache abo edeja obeyi ne e de aba na ado ho e nkran ho. Yes, Tavia to bigger at nkran so one day there's nothing wrong. True, William Cap. He knows. He knows very, very well what he's doing. One who says sometimes and so be person go in master. That is how they've been doing. Unimadia oye. Unim washeda pa unimadia oye nyina. But me mention antiasi will be at ho. Na bien they say or no on attack aban or power, but rather attack nipa or ne kwapre kumya. Now about aban or take kumya son abaso. Me menti bi da. So that is something that you say. Yes, but of course, for now, JJ is gone, Eddie Child, and maybe they will use to be a bigger man. Now they think say, I'm gonna pay JJ as to be doing all these kind of jobs, but it's not going to help them. And that is something. And for another surprising thing, they say, Special Prosecutor, Abasa, His Excellency John Mahama, Anya Bonibia in any Airbus scandal. John Mahama is not corrupt, and he's not going to be corrupt until Asama with the age out, and that is why I decided to come and present to you today. So when you subscribe here and subscribe here, send me a debut online, Ubenya Live. And then when you visit the video tab on our platform, and also you get a lot of videos. And then at the end of this particular video, no somebody a copy of the book, His Excellency John Mahama Achuro, my first coup d'etat, no, the video link. Told the descriptions of this particular video and then in the comment section they say here book in Bia you can also purchase it send be Mahama because and easy to write a book and anybody who is interested in the copy of the book no me at book in now or the link of that particular book no the video descriptions of this book and then I'll pin a comment as well with a link and me the obi say yame adoma ochena yebesa to us bye bye.
Some of them have stood before.
Everybody.
Adainimo has.
No, it's only Poku even. He was trying to stood and we disqualify him here.
Where? Some of them have stood before.
Everybody.
Adainimo has.
No, it's only
Poku
even. He was trying to stood and we disqualify him here.
Where?